The Obstinate Pen by Frank W. Dormer. Uncle Flood unwrapped his new pen and laid it on the desk. It promptly stood at attention. Uncle Flood shivered with delight. "I must have silence when I write," Flood yelled at his nephew. Horace left. Uncle Flood removed the cap from his pen and began to write. "The following story is all true." But the pen did not write that sentence. What the pen wrote was this: "You've a big nose." Uncle Flood could only stare at the paper. He wrote again. "The following story is all true." The pen wrote, "You've eyes as large as dinner plates." Flood's mouth dropped open. "Pen," he yelled, "you'd better write what I want this time, or I will throw you out the window." "The following story is all true," he wrote. The pen wrote, "Your hair is like a bird's nest." The pen flew out of the window and landed in Officer Wonkle's ear. "Eek," said Officer Wonkle. "Is there something wrong?" asked a woman. "A pen," Officer Wonkle said. "Just what I needed." He began to write a ticket to the woman. Name, Miss Glenda Weeble. But the pen did not write that sentence. What the pen wrote was this: Name, Kiss that girl. Officer Wonkle's face turned red. He started another ticket. Name, Miss Glenda Weeble. The pen wrote, "Kiss her, Banana Head." "Are you all right?" asked Miss Weeble. She thought the officer was very handsome. "Sorry, ma'am, it's this pen." He scratched out the last line and tried again. "Miss Glenda Weeble." But the pen wrote, "If you don't kiss her, you are a yam-headed organ grinder." Officer Wonkle made up his mind. He threw the pen away and pressed a kiss on Miss Weeble's cheek. The pen landed in the street. It stuck to the wheel of Mrs. Norcom, Pigeon Smythe's automobile. The pen made an awful tick-tick sound until Mrs. Pigeon Smythe's driver, Druthers, stopped and pulled it out. "It's a pen," said Druthers. He handed it to Mrs. Norcom, Pigeon Smythe. "Oh, what a sturdy little pen," she said. "Druthers, fetch me a bit of stationery. I must use this pen to write my memoir." Soon, Mrs. Pigeon Smythe sat down to write her memoir. She wrote, "I, Mrs. Norcom Pigeon Smythe, related to the great king of Farflungdom, have lived a very lush life." The pen wrote, "Mrs. Fluffy Pants has a spoon up her nose." Mrs. Pigeon Smythe burst out laughing. "Oh dear, what a precocious pen. I must tell everyone about it." She began writing again, and the pen wrote, "Your hands have warts." She laughed even louder. Mrs. Norcom Pigeon Smythe ordered a large dinner party and invited every one of her friends to try the pen. It then sold to the Duke, 3 duchesses, and the maid. After the large dinner party, Mrs. Pigeon Smythe placed the pen under glass in a room in her house that no one visited. So the pen did what any prisoner pen would do. It broke out. It landed on the ground and stood straight up, where it was picked up by Horace. He looked at its shiny, smooth barrel. He admired its pointed, flexy tip. Horace walked to the park He sat down, he pulled out a sheet of paper and began to draw. And the pen led him. The end.